That's it. Now, stop the bleeding. Focus. Good. You succeeded. Mastering your breathing. It will open many doors for you. Now, it won't solve everything, but it will help. You will continue to grow stronger. Thank you.
Now it's the vibrate, y'all know what it is. Just a reminder of, as we connect, some of us, you know what I'm saying, who connect with social media or just deal with technology in a way that, let's just say, speeds normal processes up, or more so, let's just say, dealing with, technology or social media, but from a space of also like consuming, like somebody, I came across a video that brought up like, in one scroll on your, your Instagram or, or, TikTok, whatever, like in one scroll, you feeding yourself and your little, nerve system more energy than most of our ancestors seen in, 1 or 2 days, you feel me? Like, like our ancestors wouldn't get stimulated, or overstimulated by all of that, in essence, you could say just like a bunch of information, you know what I'm saying? Because even if you're not necessarily reading anything, just by looking at pictures, it's still like taking in information, And so basically it's a overstimulating situation. But what I want to get to before I go off on a tangent, is that reminder of how technology can promote the subconscious programming or social engineering of us wanting to make things happen quickly, And in some cases, I feel like repeating certain messages, it does, like, in some ways, depending on how frequent, depending on the frequency of how much we repeat something, a certain message, it could feel like, all right, this is just like, it feels like a toxic loop or something, you know what I'm saying? To have to keep repeating this, you know what I'm saying? Feel like you're like a record that just keep, you know what I'm saying? Like skipping back to the same spot. But it's certain things that are necessary for us to kind of just keep, reminding ourselves about, because it builds a certain vibrational resonance, you know what I'm saying? Like you keep reminding yourself about something, from a healthy perspective, it's just like with us, whether it's exercise or information that you read, but either way, it's like that repetition, kind of builds that certain resonance. You notice that the more you worked out, the more easy it was for you to work out on that 5th day, because you was doing it for 4 days straight, and then it get easier the 6th day until, you get in such a groove where then it starts to feel like something is off if you don't, exercise. You feel me? Using that as an example. But just reminding ourselves, like, the technology, like taking breaks from that energy, because I realize, like, and it's not necessarily having to do with technology, but technology in that sense promotes this, this quick, fast dopamine hit type of energy, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of promotes an impatient energy. And I realized, like, one of the toughest things, being in this age, in this moment with all of this, you know, social media and all this information just coming at us. Because again, even if it's not just social media, that's another thing too. You know, it's like, as far as like, we're having more stimuli than our ancestors. Like, you know, just think about like somebody walking in the woods compared to walking in a city where, you know, you got this sign over here for this advertisement and this sign on this bench and this going on over here and this going on over there. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know what I'm saying? You know, matter of fact, as I was saying that, I just kind of thought of like walking down the boardwalk in Venice. You feel me? Shout out to Venice, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Venice Beach. But, you know, it's that type of, you know, impatient energy that it promotes, you know, and something to be aware of, because I realized like how tough it could be to be patient enough to study yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean to like over study yourself to where like you're in a studying yourself type of like paralysis, where you're studying yourself so much to where you're not taking actions in life. You know, you do still take actions, but realizing like, you know, like whatever it is that you're doing, that you want to do, whatever the case may be, man, it's not going nowhere. It's not running from you. The only reason why I feel like it's running from you is because your thoughts is telling you, because toxic thoughts is trying to tell you, hey, it's running from you. Go, you gotta chase it. You gotta go and get it. You know what I'm saying? When really, it's not running from you. It's not going anywhere. And, you know, you could approach things with, you know, more patience. You know, you could be patient when it comes to, again, studying yourself. You ever been studying yourself, and to be in particular, like you studying, let's say, like certain patterns, like you dealing with a lesson loop, a certain situation keep looping, a certain pattern keep looping. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's about pattern recognition. In order to pull yourself out of the loop, you know, you recognize the pattern, you recognize what the trigger is that caused you to go into that pattern. You know what I'm saying? But you ever been, you know, studying yourself, whether it's studying patterns again, or studying your numerology, studying your astrology chart, studying your journal, and, you know, what you've been journaling, reflecting on your journals, because that's also something that was like a aha moment when it comes to, you know, vampires and the whole notion in the mythology of like vampires don't have a reflection. And I'm like, dang, that also speaks to the fact that, you know, if you don't have a reflection, then you also wouldn't be able to reflect, in essence. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, by having that lack of reflection, it's not only like a lack of a physical reflection in that sense, and that's a whole deep rabbit hole, but also not having like a sense of reflection on a, you know what I'm saying, not say figurative, but, you know, a sense of reflection from the perspective of like psychologically and spiritually. You know what I'm saying? It's like a vampire would lack the ability or the patience to reflect. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's like self-study. And I bringing it full circle. Like, you ever had one of those moments where you felt like, man, like studying yourself was taking up your time from something else? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, man, I ain't got enough of time to study myself. You know, it's like, you know, having that type of energy, you know. And I realized this is where, you know, things get tricky with collective agreements and stuff like this, where it's like, you know, people like hustle, man. I'm telling you, bro, it's all about the grind, gotta get it, this and that, you know. Where it's only about that if you agree with it. Now, if some parts of you subtly agree with that whole, you're competing against somebody else to be yourself, like, that you have to get up and rush or compete for something that's uniquely aligned for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you agree to that, then, or you subtly agree to it, because that's where it kind of comes from. It's like where you kind of understand that you don't have to do that, but a subtle part of yourself kind of could, you know, kind of feels a little bit of that tug of like, but man, you know, especially for those of us who grew up in the, you know, what we may call the hood, and that, you know, the hustle aspect, bro, gotta get up, you know what I'm saying? You know, selling whatever we were selling and, you know what I'm saying, making sure like we out there all day, or we up early, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with being up early, you know, getting that fresh start. But what I'm saying more so is like the rushing aspect, the competitive aspect, and, you know, just the lack of patience again, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you could be patient, you know, like, and again, you could study yourself. As long as you're not, you know what I'm saying, like in this little studying yourself coma of like never ever taking action, you know, then, you know, it's, again, anything in the extreme could be toxic, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you need a little dose of, you know, hey, move quickly, or, you know, move in a manner where you're getting things done. You know, sometimes that is necessary. But again, in a space where all of this impatience and things that promote impatience, you know what I'm saying, is around us and all this, like, it just kind of creates that vibe to, you know, not be patient when you should be patient for certain things that is important for you to be patient for. You feel me? You know, so it's like, you know, taking that moment to study yourself, you know, and that's more so the case. What it really, you know, boils down to is like being patient enough to, you know, recognize the patterns, you know, within yourself and within your day, you know, recognize your triggers, you know, and again, having the patience to, you know, study it, whether you journal or not, but just still, it's like sitting down and taking that time to, you know, do what you gotta do as this fly move, flying around, busy like a bee type of energy, you know what I'm saying? Not knocking bees, but you get what I'm saying. You know, but it's like reminding yourself to, you know, be patient. Because I even seen this sometimes, like, again, with creating jewelry, you know, or creating art in general, but especially like, you know, crystal art, or, you know, drawing. Is like, you know, it's like it takes patience, you know, to not try to rush through it, you know. And I feel like that's where a lot of these things help, you know, when it comes to creating, you know, whether it's, you know, with the copper, creating jewelry, or drawing art. But a lot of these art forms help to promote the energy of like patience, you know, and you not like rushing to produce something, you know, like, cause you gotta, you know, oh, it's like, oh, you only, again, it's only like that if you agree to it. And now where things get tough is the fact that we can feel a collective, and if that energy is pumped into the collective so strongly by everybody, you know, and what makes it worse is when, you know, some of the aware beings that are here to like promote that patience of like studying yourself, and, you know, actually doing the quote unquote spiritual work with yourself, you know what I'm saying? Spiritual, psychological, emotional, mental, physical, whatever, you know, the holistic health, you know what I'm saying? The beings that are meant to promote that, you know, that patience to take care of yourself, to, you know, do self-care, to practice self-love, you know, when those types of beings get caught up in that loop too, because a lot of the beings that are here to promote those energies also have a strong energy. So it would almost be like amplifying the whole toxic hustle. No time to rest, no time to take care of myself, no time to study myself. I gotta get it. I gotta make 3 TikToks before tomorrow. I gotta watch 5 TikToks, you know what I'm saying? And as I'm saying that, again, not knocking it. Now, for me personally, I do my best to not continuously feed everybody little 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute dopamine hits of information. But that's a me thing. It's no judgment towards those who do it. But like for me, it's just like, I laugh because it kind of reminds me of like, all right, if I'm not selling crack to my people, you know what I'm saying? Physically, I'm not going to do it digitally as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, sell, digital dope, basically. You know what I'm saying? The constant little hits of dopamine. Where basically, again, it could be a slippery slope where you're just looking for that TikTok video, that Instagram post to scroll and check out. But then you're not actually going to do it because subtly in the back of your mind and your subconscious, like, oh, I'm gonna watch another one tomorrow and then another one after that, and just keep, so, it's like being aware of that. But yeah, me personally, I don't want to sell the little quick dopamine hits like that, you know what I'm saying? In some cases, we meant to have those moments. Again, I got short videos, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's not like an extreme. But, it's just that reminder of patience and not getting caught up in the whole impatient wave that, in essence could be felt, you know what I'm saying, within the collective, especially in connection with, technology, social media, and all the stimuli that comes with, being in a, more of a city environment, you know what I'm saying? So just remember to take that moment to, pause and study yourself, or just not even say pause. Just remember the fact that you could be patient and study yourself. Like to implement patience when it comes to, studying yourself. And then that also would translate into studying, your environment as well. But it's like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's all right to patiently study yourself. It's okay to rest. It's very important to rest. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to rest. It's okay to patiently study yourself. You know what I'm saying? Things will still work out in your favor. Things will still align in your favor. I notice myself like doing my best to not use the word work. If I could, if I can. But you know what I'm saying? Like, things will align for you. Even when you're patient, things will align for you even when you rest. And the only reason why it may feel like it won't is because you're allowing that thought form of like, oh no, you gotta go and get it. You gotta like day of the next Friday. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, it creates that type of energy. And again, it's a balance. Of course, you take action. Of course, there's moments for haste, quote unquote, or moving at a faster pace. But ultimately, it's like maintaining that awareness that the only thing that's trying to prevent you from being patient enough to take care of yourself, to study yourself, You know what I'm saying? Being patient enough to take a moment to rest. The only thing that tries to stop you from doing that is a thought form that's saying otherwise. You know what I'm saying? And the more and more you remain present, and that comes with the meditation and stuff too, the more and more you meditate, the more and more you stay present, the more and more it becomes easier for you to realize this and to, you know, basically prevent that thought form from, you know, prevent yourself from agreeing to that thought form in so many ways. You know, it's like, all right, as you keep remaining present, the meditation has your mind clear, you know what I'm saying? Then it becomes easier and easier for you to, you know, like, all right, don't agree with that type of voice. I'm gonna patiently, you know, do this. I'm gonna rest, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's the thing. It's like, it's, you could do it, you know what I'm saying? The only thing that's trying to stop you is a thought form that says otherwise, that try to tell you that you can't be patient and that you gotta, you know what I'm saying, this, that, or the third, you know what I'm saying? But that's the message, that's the transmission. Now it's the vibrate, y'all know what it is, gotta say it fully. Not too far in the future, not too far in the past, right now. And to reflect on that, I realized that with having that as an affirmation, you know, for so many years, like I've watched the last few years of how much I've been tested on maintaining that affirmation. Like, you know, like staying present, you know. Because again, anxiety attacks are having to regulate our nervous system so much, in a lot of cases having to deal with being too far in the future, you know, dealing with depression and all that is like an energy of being too far in the past or holding on to some past shit. You feel me? It's like, now is the vibrate, you know. And again, like that reminder, sometimes you gotta ask yourself, or like bring yourself back to that space of like, well, what I'm doing right now. You know, I know I gotta research cryptocurrency at a certain point, or I know I gotta, you know what I'm saying, do this, or, you know, I know I did this in the past, but what's going on right now? Like right now, I'm sitting outside. Right now, there's a beautiful tree on the side of me. Right now, the sun is shining bright. Right now, I could, you know, hear some traffic from the highway. Right now, I just saw a bird fly over my head. You know, right now, you know what I'm saying? And now it's the vibrate as you affirm it and you constantly bring your attention into that space, you know, of like, all right, shaking yourself back into that now moment. It becomes a habit, you know, through that repetition. And also remembering that it ain't just about the affirmation either, you know what I'm saying? It's about maintaining the actual act of being, you know, present and in the moment, because it's our vibration that's the true affirmation. What really speaks to the universe is our vibration. You know, affirmations help, words help. That's not taking any power away from it. But you ultimately see that the mouth and what we say is secondary to the fact that we speak without talking already. You know what I'm saying? Like our vibration speaks, you know. And I even had to make that like a new point to remember for myself, to like, hey, it's about vibration. You could say you feel like, oh, I feel happy, I am whatever affirmation. But you gotta do stuff, like you gotta make, basically the key is you gotta find a way to just stay on point with tuning your vibration a certain way, you know. So instead of like doing so much of the affirmation stuff like that, it's like, well, what could shift my vibration into what I'm trying to say in this affirmation, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am happy, but what action or what thought I could promote, or, you know what I'm saying, what can I do to bring myself into a vibration of happiness, into a vibration of presence, you know what I'm saying, into the vibration of feeling abundant, you know. Now that's where gratitude could come in, where it's not so much an affirmation, but, in essence, you like calling out the things to be grateful for, and you could sense yourself like, oh man, yeah, I am grateful for that. And then that creates a certain vibration, and that's the true, affirmation, is that vibration that, is triggered by that moment of, giving gratitude, that moment of reminding yourself to be present, So the vibration speaks most importantly. But, again, you can be patient, you can rest, Now is a vibrate.